Okay. Okay, we're finally live. Okay. And so, okay, we're in Song of Solomon. We're going to continue, and I'm not going to do a lot of review. Sometimes I do a lot of review to try to catch people up, but it's just too much to try to do. So I really encourage, if anybody's coming in late for this, I really encourage you to go back to catch up with the last one, the last Song of Solomon. And if you happen to click on this and that one's like deleted or something, there is a YouTube page with these on it. So anyway, tonight we're doing Song of Solomon 3 and 4. And I kind of introed this as looking at God's relationship with his bride as a timeline from Genesis to Revelation. So we talked a lot last time about the nation of Israel going through the wilderness and the time that they had alone with God and when he was taking care of them in the wilderness. So tonight we're starting with Song of Solomon 3, and this is the first of two sequences where there is like a dream sequence, like she is asleep. So the bride is asleep. So if you think of this as the bride as being the church, collective, like God's people, starting from the nation of Israel and going all the way through the end of the book. So we're talking about the collective. There's a lot of times that this could actually line up with. I'm not trying to make it like theology or doctrine. You know what I'm saying? But there was like a period of 400 years of silence that a lot of people say, like between the Old and New Testament, there's 400 years when there was no prophets, there was no nothing written down, no new written word. There's a section in Daniel where there's a prophecy that actually foretells everything that happens in those 400 years. So it's not like nothing was going on. It's just that there was no new prophecy going on. So there was a period of silence. I say that in air quotes because it was not exactly silent because the prophecies were unfolding during the 400 years. But it was silent as far as new prophets or new word. And so maybe, it's like I don't want to like draw a hard line on that of like where this would be. But I also thought a lot about the sleeping that happened just in the time that Jesus was here, as far as like there was even when he on the Mount of Transfiguration, when he brought Peter, James, and John on the Mount of Transfiguration, and he appeared in his glorified body, and they saw the kingdom of heaven. Because he had just said there are some standing here that won't die before they see the kingdom of heaven. He's referring to the transfiguration. So they saw him and his glory along with Moses and Elijah that were there, but during that time they were heavy with sleep. So that was one of the times they were heavy with sleep, right before the appearance. So there's a time where the inner circle, the inner three, they were heavy with sleep right before the appearance. There's also a time, of course, in the Garden of Gethsemane, when the disciples were heavy with sleep right before the work of the cross. So there's different times where there's a very important, significant time period where the church is asleep. So I think that we can expand this to have relevance in any of those times, honestly. But this is a time when it's the first when she's woken up from a dream. Okay, Song of Solomon 3 verse 1. By night on my bed I sought the one I love. I sought him but did not find him. So that, if you want to allocate that to the 400 years of silence, it would work there. Maybe during a diaspora when they were in Babylon. There's different places where you could sort of allocate this, but we'll just leave it a little open-ended. Verse 2, I will rise now, I said, and go about the city, in the streets and in the squares. I will seek the one I love. I sought him, but did not find him. The watchmen who go about the city found me and said, have you seen the one? I said, have you seen the one I love? Scarcely had I passed by them when I found the one I love. I held him and would not let him go until I had brought him to the house of my mother and into the chamber of the one who conceived me. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or by the doves of the field, do not stir up or awaken love until it pleases. And we did mention last week that this phrase happens 3 times in the book. I charge you to do not awaken love, do not stir or awaken love until it pleases. And that's more or less an admonishment to not rush the timing of God's timing for the wedding, for the actual culmination of these things. So I'm just going to let that hang out there for a minute because I think this first little section will make more sense as we go through. The Shulamite says, who is this? I'm sorry. This is about the Shulamite. Who is this coming out of the wilderness like pillars of smoke, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense, with all the merchants' fragrant powders? Now there is a parable in which Christ is the merchant. And so here we can say that Christ is the merchant, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense. Myrrh signifying the death, and frankincense the resurrection. So she, the bride, is perfumed with the same aroma of the bridegroom, the myrrh and the frankincense, the death and resurrection. Now this from Exodus 13, so we're still in Exodus. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. So here is the pillars of the picture of the bride, the picture of God's people going through the wilderness with the pillars. So we see, it's just the perfect language that is going on there. Verse 7, behold, it is Solomon's couch with 60 valiant men around it, of the valiant of Israel. So the couch, Solomon's couch, is called a palanquin. Let me just finish the verse out. They all hold swords, being expert in war. Every man has a sword on his thigh, because of the fear and the night. Of the wood of Lebanon, Solomon the king made himself a palanquin. Don't turn the page just yet, okay? So you see here, this is the palanquin of the king that was carried by valiant men. And then we see also the people of God going through the wilderness carrying the king, the presence of the king, which is the Ark of the Covenant, which is carried the same way on poles by the Levites, by the priest. And the palanquin was the exact same way. It was only a king that traveled in a palanquin. Only a king. He made its pillars of silver, its support of gold, its seat of purple, its interior paved with love by the daughters of Jerusalem. Go forth, O daughters of Jerusalem, and see King Solomon with the crown with which his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding, the day of the gladness of his heart. So you see the procession, and it says 60 valiant men, and it just so happens that the temple is 60 cubits long. So as the procession goes about with 60 valiant men, and you can imagine the procession of going into the temple towards the Holy of Holies that is 60 cubits long. And so as they travel, they're going to the place of intimacy, to the place of the meeting of with the Holy Spirit, with God. And then, of course, the wedding. The wedding is in view. The wedding is in view. Chapter 4. Behold, you are fair, my love. Behold, you are fair. You have dove's eyes behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats going down from Mount Gilead. So hair, so he's describing, at this point, the bridegroom is describing the bride. The hair is symbolic of consecration and authority. And just as the consecration, just like in the story of Samson, how Samson, his strength came from his hair, from the fact that he was consecrated as a Nazarite. He was set apart wholly unto God, and that was the hair of his head was the symbol that signified that he was set apart as holy for God. So this is her, he's describing her hair. And then doves, again, signify the Holy Spirit and oneness of vision, because doves only can focus on or only can see one thing at a time. Your teeth are like a flock of shorn sheep, which have come up from the washing, each one of which bears twins, and none is barren among them. That's the first mention of twins. There's the first of several mentions of twins, and I'm gonna explain why here in a second, why there's twins. But first, the priests were not allowed to wear anything wool. This is the comment, okay? Wool was associated with fleshly life. The priest only wore linen. They wore fine linen. Sheep being shorn and washed symbolizes repentance and baptism into a new life. The sheep were shorn and washed. So the shearing of the wool is the repentance and the baptism and to signify the death and resurrection into new life. So I'll go back to the twins in a minute. Verse 3. Your lips are like a strand of scarlet. Now, scarlet, the color scarlet is, of course, symbolic of blood, the color of redemption, because the blood of redemption, right? And your mouth is lovely. Your temples behind your veil are like a piece of pomegranate. Okay, so the scarlet thread, so he's comparing her lips, which, of course, you could also say that the lips she speaks of redemption, righteousness. Righteousness is on her lips. Wisdom is on her lips. It's a proverb, right? So all of these things, but the scarlet thread is a term that it's used in theology. That basically, I'll just bottom line it, then we're going to flesh it out a second. But the scarlet thread basically symbolizes the bloodline of Jesus Christ, and following the bloodline from Abraham, or depending on the genealogy, from Adam to Christ. And that's basically what they call the scarlet thread in the study of genealogy. It was a symbolic cord used during Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. In Second Temple Judaism, during that ritual, the high priest would tie one part of the thread to the head of the scapegoat, the goat sent into the wilderness to carry away the sins of the people, and another to the door of the temple of Jerusalem. So there were two goats. One, they would cast lots. The priest would cast lots. One goat would be identified to be the scapegoat, and the priest would confess the sins of the nation and place his hand on that goat. And so the sins of the nations would be basically symbolically inferred onto that goat. And they would send that goat into the wilderness to take away the sins of the people. Now, the other goat would be dedicated to the Lord and would be sacrificed on the altar, and the blood of that goat used in the ceremony of the atonement ritual. So let me ask you real quick.
The one was sin-free and
the one was sin-free. So the one that was...
Sorry, I didn't pick it.
Yeah.
Let's the one with sin-free. I'm so sorry. That's crazy.
No, we have a microphone. We've been talking about how to like make it a little more doable with everybody talking.
Raise your hands.
Raise your hand, pass around the Bob
And
Barker
the one
mic.
with no sin is the sacrifice. Okay.
There you go. I love it. So, but yes. So one of the goats was imbued with the sins of all the people, and one was declared sin-free and was the perfect sacrifice for the ritual. Sorry, I just totally coughed on the mic. But anyway, so let me ask you a trick question. Which one of these represents Christ?
Both.
Exactly. Both. You missed the microphone.
Sorry.
Both.
I'm just gonna
It's
hold it.
okay. It's all right. All right. So it is so, I know. We'll get used to it after a while. Both of them, because there's a duality. Jesus was the Son of Man and the Son of God. Yes. So he was both. He is the kinsman redeemer, and he is also, I can't stay on track with y'all giggling. Okay, he is the kinsman redeemer who is the bridegroom, who redeems the land for the bride. And then he is also the avenger of blood. Right. He plays both roles. And there's many times in Scripture where Jesus plays both roles. So this is the first time you see two. Now, that's not what I'm talking about with the twins, but just know, there's a theme of two. There's a duality of what Jesus's role is here, right. Okay? But so this is the first, I'm introducing kind of the...
One thing about the pomegranates are the, like deep color of blood too.
You're right.
So I just thought it was not random.
Not
that
random.
It was placed right there by the scarlet thread.
I'm glad you just hold the mic. I'm glad people can hear that when you say that. But yes. Sorry.
You should just wear it.
Right. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll just put you in charge of like going around the room and. Yeah. Okay.
I've been thinking it, but they don't listen to me.
Thinking what? Just to pull.
That's to be able to pass it around.
Pass it around.
But I know then she'll never talk. I don't know.
See what happens. Okay, so the other, and just to finish up this story, they would take one other scarlet thread, and here it would say they would nail it to the door of the temple. Now think of how that looks. Nail it to the door of the temple with a nail. And that, according to legend, this thread would turn white. And when the thread turned white, then they would know that the scapegoat had, that the ritual was complete and their sins had been taken away. Now, after the crucifixion, after that year, it never turned white again. Now, the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, so that's the last that this ritual has really been done that way. But from the time of the crucifixion until the time that the temple was destroyed, it never turned white again. So there you go with that. I just had to finish that. Now we see, so you guys got that. Keep the picture of the scarlet thread as redemption. Okay, now there is a woman who shows up, and she's not the only woman. This particular one shows up in the book of Joshua, and she ends up in the bloodline of Jesus Christ, and she's a prostitute named Rahab. And where was, you guys who know this story, where was Rahab when they met her?
In the brothel in Jericho.
In the what?
Brothel. Right? Was she not? Or on the wall?
On the wall.
Right, but I thought she was in the whatever. Or that was where
Did
her
you
house
say on the
was.
wall?
I said on the roof. I thought it was a roof.
Well, it was
No,
in
they escaped from the roof.
they escaped from the roof, so it was
That's
up.
right.
It was up. So yeah, you had the right imagery. Yeah, but she was in.
She used to do her work out of her house.
Yeah, she was. Yes.
So same thing. Her
Love
own
you.
It was,
work from
it was so and I put marshmallow
Press.
and fire.
Oh, he is the cutest.
He is
thing I've
very
ever seen in
cute.
my life, dude.
It's okay.
Y'all should have seen him this morning. Crabs. I'll never forget. Sorry.
I know
Okay,
we're
off
so
subject.
off. Okay.
Sorry.
So Rahab was living in the wall in Jericho. So we saw in this first chapter that there are watchmen set on the walls. She was a watchman on the walls. Okay. So
Wait,
Cool.
They let the prostitute be a watchman?
no, she just
symbolic, like
became.
it's
She
symbolic.
became. It's symbolic.
And I thought of her when we saw the Scarlet. I was like, why does this remind me of that story?
Microphone.
Oh, I said it loud enough.
Okay, use what you think. Y'all gotta cooperate with the mic.
I'm sorry.
I said
okay,
when we were reading about the Scarlet, I was like, why is it reminding me of Rahab?
Because the scarlet, we're about to go over that. We're gonna about to go
she
over
uses
that.
the scarlet rope, right?
Yes. All right. So she is a watchman on the wall, one of many, but she is one. Okay. So in Joshua chapter 2, verse 15, it says, "Then she, Rahab, let them down by a rope through a window, for her house was on the city wall, and she dwelt on the wall. And she said to them, Get to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you. Hide there 3 days." 3 days until the pursuers have returned.
What?
Afterward, you may go your way.
So cool.
So the men said to her, We will be blameless of this oath of yours which you have made us swear, unless when we come into the land, you bind this line of scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down. So none of this is by accident. So there were 2 spies. Here we see 2 again. There are 2 spies. And they are let down by a scarlet thread. Okay? Now, Rahab ends up in the bloodline of Jesus Christ. Now, how does that happen? We'll just wait. There's more. Now, she being obviously not a Jew, right? But women were different. Women could marry into the bloodline. Men could not, because women were vessels, so they can marry into the bloodline. That's a short way of saying it. All right, so in Genesis 38, hold on, let me see. Okay. All right, now I'm skipping to another story. I'm building a picture here. Okay, so that's Rahab. So now we're going to talk about Judah and Tamar. Now, in case you don't remember, Judah, who was one of the 12 patriarchs, he had a daughter-in-law named Tamar. And the daughter-in-law married, of course, Tamar married one of Judah's sons, obviously. And you're going to have to get the mic if you got commentary.
I'm just shaking my head, everybody on YouTube.
Okay. All right, Judah. So the first husband, God decides is evil and he kills him. It does not explain why. God decides this guy's evil and he kills him. So due to the Levirate marriage, which is a rule that they had, that if a brother dies with no lineage, that his brother was to take that woman and produce offspring through her, and those offspring would be considered the dead brother's children. And that way his name and his inheritance did not disappear. That's why they did that, okay? So he gave Tamar to the brother according to the Levirate marriage. Well, that guy didn't want to produce children, so he made sure, I won't go into, there's small ones in here. I won't go into why. You can read it yourself, or how. You can read it yourself. But he decided that he didn't want, it was a greed thing. He didn't want the inheritance divided. That's all that was about. Okay, so he kind of took advantage of the situation, but at the same time making sure she didn't have children. Okay, and so it was a greed thing. He just didn't want he didn't want to divide the inheritance. So he died also. So there was another brother who was too young to marry, and Judah promised Tamar that once he was old enough to marry, that he would say, he told Tamar, go to your father's house, and when he's old enough, I'll send for you, and then I'll give you to the youngest brother. Well, so time goes by, and he comes of age, and she realizes that she's not being called for. Judah is basically at that point thinking it's her fault, like she's like a bad luck charm or something.
That's why the son's got it.
So salty.
She made sure to lean into the mic for that one.
Good, I'm glad. So he was. So now I'm almost prepared. But anyway, Judah was thinking that she was like a bad luck, and so he's like, I'm not giving her. He was like, I just away with her. So she realizes what's going on. And so she disguises herself as a prostitute and sits along the way to the path to the temple, because the roadside of the pathway to the temple is where everybody traveled. It was because obviously there were certain feasts that they were going to go to. And so along the way, that's where the prostitutes would hang out in order to advertise their position, right? So she veiled herself, as was kind of customary for prostitutes to do, and he took her up on her offer. He goes and sleeps with her, not realizing it's Tamar. And
Judah.
I'm sorry,
Judah
not realizing it was Judah. Thank you. Not realizing it was Judah.
Wait,
No,
no,
she
no.
was right.
Judah, no. You're right.
Tamar.
Judas.
What?
You didn't clarify which man.
I'm sorry.
That was what I was trying
Thank you. It was Judah, the father-in-law.
Not realizing it was Tamar.
Not realizing it was Tamar because she was veiled as prostitutes did. So he was like, I don't have anything to pay you with, which was goats, interestingly enough, because we just talked about the scapegoat and all
Right.
that. He said, I don't have anything to pay you with. She's like, that's okay. Leave your cord and your staff, which had his signet. It was like a signet ring that was on the staff, right? Or the cord, I think. So she said, just leave your cord and your staff, and I'll give these back to you. These will be like, collateral until you come back with payment. Fine. So they exchanged that. So later on, he sends his servants back to give her the goats and get us back, and they can't find her. And they're like, we can't find her. She's nowhere. And he's like, oh, well, okay, I tried, so he just, okay. Well, a few months go by, and he gets word that Tamar is pregnant. And he says, someone says, your daughter-in-law has played the harlot. And he's like, she should be stoned.
Bruh.
I know.
Terrible story.
It is a terrible story.
I love this story.
I know.
I
It's
think that's wonderful.
bless you.
Let's get to the end.
It is good. So he comes. So when the servants go to fetch her, she says, tell him I'm pregnant by the man who gave me these. And she produces Judah's staff and cord. That could be, it was unique. Everyone had it was like a signature. So they knew it was his. And so she had tricked him, and he said, she is more righteous than I because I did not do what I was supposed to do. Well, it turns out that she is pregnant with twins. Hold on.
This is crazy.
Okay.
It's always so cool.
So she is pregnant with twins. Now they don't continue that thing. She just wanted the
Right.
the kids, right? All right, so here we are. She's pregnant with twins. That was the backstory. Genesis 37. Now it came to pass at the time for giving birth that behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was when she was giving birth that the one put out his hand.
Oh my gosh.
And the midwife, you're going to freak out in a minute. And the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying this one came out first, because that was important to them. The firstborn had certain legal rights. So that's why she marked the firstborn with the scarlet thread. But he withdrew his hand. Then that she said this one came out first. Then it happened as he drew back his hand that his brother came out unexpectedly, and she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward his brother came out who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Now, before I go into that, wait a minute. I put this genealogy here, but ignore that for just a minute because they printed out big. We're going to come back to that, okay?
Ignore the genealogy.
Ignore the genealogy. We're about to come back to that. Flip over to this in Matthew 27, verse 31. This is at the crucifixion. This is when at the hour Jesus dies. Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from the top to the bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were split, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the graves after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. These were almost the first resurrection. These were the Jews who were saints, but they were of the Jewish lineage. These were the Jewish lineage who emerged first, then went back into their graves, because that was not the final resurrection. Jesus was the first resurrection of the dead, being that he was resurrected into his glorified form that birthed the church. So what I'm saying to you is that twins that we're going to see throughout this book, there's a grafting of two things. There is the Jewish and there's the Gentile church that are being brought together as one. So the twins that we see, because all through, we're going to see later on in the book, and when he's describing the bride and all this stuff, he talks about her breast being twin fawns. The twin fawns are the two, it's the two as one.
Right.
Now, go back to a minute to the genealogy. In this genealogy, and I know that if you're watching online, you can't see what I'm looking at. But if you go later, Dylan will put it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it. Or you could just Google it, Google search this. The genealogies that are in Matthew and Luke, and I know it shows up backwards, but this is the picture of it. If you want to, Google search it, Matthew and Luke. Okay, the genealogy in Matthew. It goes through, now if you see here, right under Judah, you have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Perez. So this genealogy goes through Perez, not Zerah. Zerah was the one with the scarlet thread. And goes down through, and if you look under, where's Solomon? Solomon, wait, where am I at? David. Okay, after David. Well, but before you go to David, okay. Perez, Hezron, Ram, Aminadab, Nahshon, Salmon, Boaz. Okay, so who was the mother of Boaz? Does anyone remember?
The mother of Boaz.
Rahab, the woman who let down the scarlet rope. She marries into the tribes of Israel. So she obviously marries Salmon, and she has Boaz.
Wow.
So then from Boaz, we see Obed, Jesse, David, and after David, it splits, and you have the paternal line, the father line, going to Solomon, and you jump over to the maternal line, and it goes to Solomon's brother, Nathan. There's a whole reason for that I'm not going to explain. It would take too long. But basically, okay. So down through the paternal line that goes to Joseph, the line to Joseph carried the legal title of King of the Jews. The king came down through Joseph. He had the legal title. But Jesus was not blood born of Joseph, right? The maternal line goes down to Heli, which is the father of Mary. And Heli was the son-in-law Joseph was the son-in-law of Heli. So the bloodline goes to Mary.
Yeah, because wasn't there like a king or something?
Yes.
That there was like a curse upon him. And
Yeah, there was the blood.
Yeah.
Like
So that's
so
why it
many
was King
things
Mary,
were like.
yeah.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
crazy.
There was a king along the way. Let me see. It starts with an A. It might be Aminadab. Wait a minute.
Refute it.
No. It wasn't him. It was Jeconiah. It was Jeconiah. Okay, if you look under the paternal line, it was Jeconiah. So it was Jeconiah.
Weird intermarriage.
Yes. It was Jeconiah that was so evil that the Lord said to write him childless. So now, if he's written as childless, how is the Christ going to be born of the royal line of Judah if it's supposed to come of this line and now there's a problem, right? No, because the Lord sees all things ahead of time.
So the royal blood would come through a woman?
Yes. It's the seed of the woman. It's the seed
seed of the
war
woman.
in Genesis chapter 3. It talks about the seed of the serpent and this being at enmity with the seed of the woman. Well, woman doesn't have seed. So the seed of the woman is the Messiah, Jesus Christ.
It's so undeniable. How do people look at this and say,
I know.
nothing?
So I know that that's a lot to smush pot together.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a lot to study and search out, but it is amazing.
When you see the pieces of the puzzle come together and you realize that this book was written by God, this book was written, outside of time. There's no person that could have made this happen.
And the fact that it's like written from so many people across so many
generations,
years and continents and languages, no one would have been able to team up to do this.
Right. Which is why it's written that way.
Even more divine.
Even more divine.
And people try to use it to refute it as legitimate. Like use those.
Right.
Like, oh, it's a.
Right. But it's the same thing that makes it legitimate.
Right.
All right. So let's go forward. Your neck, this is the bridegroom speaking about the Shulamite. Your neck is like the Tower of David. So here we see him speaking of the bride in military terms, of being like watchmen on the walls and having walls and towers. This is how he views the church. He views the church as an army. It's not just a beautiful woman with all this lurid language. It's an army with banners, victory banners. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built for an armory. An armory. What do we see in Ephesians? I just didn't put it in here. Is the armor of God, on which hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men. And I'm glad this language is in here, because I know that this book, well, I know the concept probably, I'm assuming, is probably awkward sometimes for men to see themselves as a bride. You know, but it's like, well, how's that work? I'm supposed to be like a girlfriend to Jesus? That's weird, you know, like, you know, but it's also masculine. You know, this is an army.
Where's Aunt Jo?
Where is Aunt Jo?
She's with Beckett.
Oh, okay.
I think she's in the potty.
Ah, okay. So here we are, verse 9. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle, which feed among the lilies. Now we have the imagery of twins. This is the first time in the book that the imagery of the twins is coming into the language. Now we have what's in view as the procession towards the marriage feast. Is the in view is the two becoming one, the two camps that the grafted together. Verse 6, until the day breaks. Now think about Jesus saying this. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee away, I will go my way to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense.
Death. Yeah. Wow. Ugh. What? Don't even get me started with this.
Good job, Kat,
What?
for asking the original question on this book.
Okay.
So because he is so enraptured with the bride, which is very difficult for us to get our mind around, that he is so in love with us as the collective bride, the Jewish people and the church, the saints of the Jewish people. I don't mean, we're not going to get into the whole topic, but you know what I'm saying. The saints that were of the Jews and the saints of the church as a collective.
Bruh.
And he says, you are all fair, my love, and there is no spot in you.
Oh my god.
And here's Isaiah 1:18. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be as wool. It was just for emphasis. For it's like
This
is it beautiful?
unbelievable.
It is so beautiful. That because he loves us that much, it's hard to imagine
Yeah.
that he did this. That he did this. I can't even imagine. That he thought so much of us beforehand that he did this. Okay, verse 8. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse. This is the first mention of the word spouse, the first time he calls her spouse. After the crucifixion, he calls her spouse, which that language couldn't be there before. Look from the top of Amana, from the top of Senir and Hermon, from the lions' dens, from the mountains of the leopards. So here's a comment. Lebanon in the Bible refers not to a political nation, but to a majestic mountain ranges and the coastal regions towards the north of ancient Israel. Its name derives from the Semitic root for white, a reference to the snow-capped peaks. At this point of ascension, lions and leopards are closer to her than ever before. Yet she has authority. So now he takes her after this vision, this visual of the crucifixion, the work of the cross that he does for her. He calls her spouse, his spouse. And he'll say in a moment, my sister, because we will be made like him.
Yeah.
We will be made heirs, co-heirs. We will be made like him. That was really cute. They probably couldn't hear that, but it was the two of them just get into all kind of stuff back there. But anyway.
I need to just like put a door right there in the hallway so we don't hear it. No more doors, never mind.
Verse 9. You have ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. You have ravished my heart with one look of your eyes, with one link of your necklace. How fair is your love, my sister, my spouse. How much better than wine is your love.
His fast.
His fast from wine at the
Last Supper.
the Last Supper, there was the cup that he did the covenant of blood with was the third cup, was the cup of redemption.
Yeah.
So he used the cup of redemption in the feast of Passover, or the Passover,
Yeah.
to establish the communion with the disciples. There was a fourth cup that they always did for Passover, and the fourth cup. Somebody help me because I didn't prepare for this. The fourth cup was
I forget, but what I know is he won't be drinking until.
It's like, yeah, okay, there's a name for it. But he says, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until we drink it together in the kingdom. So he's fasting from wine until we can share that cup together all together in the kingdom. How much better than wine is your love, and the scent of your perfume than all spices. Your lips, O my spouse, drip as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but the prayers of the saints are like incense and perfumes, like, and the milk and honey is the promised land. It's just, we actually enter into the rest of, it's just, wow.
Yes.
So many.
So
things you
many.
can tie into this.
So many. Yes, I hope everyone heard that.
Oops. I went like this.
It's
So
it's okay. It's all good.
I was like, wow.
So, but also, because I think that's probably even more important, what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
I
it's
didn't
good.
realize you had notes on that.
But also, honey restores the weak and milk feeds the immature. So the church restores those who are weak and gives milk to babes. So that's the role of the church, is to nurture, to rear up, to bring in, to disciple, to bring in others.
Wow.
And the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates with pleasant fruits. Fragrant henna with spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with all trees of the frankincense and myrrh and aloes, with their chief spices. A fountain of gardens, a well of living waters, and streams from Lebanon. Now, this is the Shulamite. Awake, O north wind, and come, O south. Blow upon my garden, that its spices may flow out. Let the beloved come to his garden and eat its pleasant fruits. Acts chapter 2, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of the rushing mighty wind, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. Then there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and the one sat on each of them. Pentecost.
Wow.
Like the fruits of the spirit, right? Is this a reference
Yeah.
to that?
Hey.
Yes.
That's a good one too.
Yes.
Yeah. Holy Spirit. Yeah.
So she is a garden enclosed, and then the Shulamite says, "Come, wind, and blow on my garden, and let it go out."
What's that song, Missy Edwards?
I keep thinking
A
about
garden
that.
enclosed.
A fountain
A
sealed.
walled garden and a fountain sealed.
I always forget these Misty Edwards songs, these
Is it
references.
that one?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. The Pentecost.
Yeah.
You looked at me like what?
I just thought I didn't know it was over.
Oh.
It didn't feel like that was an end, did it?
No. More.
Well,
This is one of my favorite ones. I did not think it was going to be. I did not. I mean, this is
But-
way more than I thought it was going to be. Seriously.
There-
It's blowing my mind.
it's been blowing my mind. It's been blowing my mind, and God is.
Try again.
No. Exactly. None of us got it. We need to try again.
But it's been blowing my mind, and I am just the fact that so resurrection, because everything in Scripture is to the Jew first and then to the Gentiles, everything, right? So even there's the resurrection was to the Jew first. They came out of their graves, but then
Right.
then retreated. And then there was the church was born. And there'll be the resurrection. It's just amazing when you see it all. It's just amazing.
So cool.
And the twins, and we'll get, there's more. I'm trying to keep
Yeah,
it
don't give it
focused
away.
on track and not give it away. But there is
How
more.
many chapters is in this?
8 or 9, I think.
Okay.
Song of Solomon, 8 or 9.
Man. Wonderful.
I know.
8.
8. So 3 was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks for Song of Solomon. It's good.
What will we do after that?
It's good. I don't know.
Chronicles.
We're not doing. How can you do Chronicles after this?
I don't know. I kind of like Chronicles. I like David.
I mean, maybe. I love David.
I love a David.
Don't start.
I didn't. I
Don't
looked
start.
straight at the screen and didn't say anything. Good old.
Oh,
They're having
good.
I thought you said we were gonna do Esther, but didn't we do that?
Wait, we did.
We
this
did
one.
Esther. We did
Were
Esther.
we gonna do Ruth?
We did
We
do
did
Ruth.
Yeah.
And we did Daniel.
Like
We
an
just
old-
take
Didn't we do
so
that?
we go so deep that it goes so long between.
Right. It's
It
just
gets-
been a while since we've done it. Yeah.
Gosh, we'll have to.
Oh no, we did do Ruth.
And we've done Daniel, right? Because I was
Yeah.
trying to do. That's what I thought. I was trying because I've taught Daniel twice. Is why I have to ask. You know, it's like a
minor prophet.
do what?
Ones at the very end of the old.
They're short, but we could do it. We've done. I know we did Obadiah. You guys just don't remember it. It was
Have we
one
done
chapter.
Habakkuk?
No.
Oh wait.
We did Malachi.
Lamentations.
We did Malachi. Do what?
Was it Lamentations?
We haven't done
We
Lamentations.
haven't done
We haven't done
Lamentations.
them. Why are we gonna go back to sad?
I like Lamentations. We're up right now. We might as well go down.
Because we just left Ecclesiastes and it's sadness, nothing means anything.
And Joe.
It was alright.
And Job.
Look, Ecclesiastes
Well, we went
was
down
like
like
down, and like up and like this, and then it, like the roller coaster's over, and it just kind of.
honestly don't see how y'all are sad after Ecclesiastes.
I love
Doesn't it relieve the pressure?
It does.
Nothing means anything.
It's true. It
Except
makes
for
you
your salvation.
whatever you do in your meaningless days on earth.
Screw it.
You just do it for the Lord. Whatever it is.
Because nothing we do matters.
it does matter.
And we are peons.
Because if
It does.
because if nothing else matters but our salvation.
Don't listen to
I like
Taylor.
being the peon.
Why are we not?
You
It
do
does.
not.
It matters only as it. You whatever you said, I didn't hear. Was that in the mic? You.
Don't listen to Taylor.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Rude.
I shook my head.
She agreed. She's like, yes.
she didn't say
She
that.
said woo.
What you do does matter.
It matters.
Not according to Ecclesiastes.
No, that's not
That's
true.
not- you
That's not
missed it.
true.
Oh, I watched it.
Only if it furthers the kingdom of heaven. Stupid stuff like,
Period.
oh, what will my career be?
It's-
Nobody gives a crap.
Period.
It's meaningless without.
Somebody tell Maddie that, please.
Right.
Somebody text Maddie.
What
Tell her.
up?
Maddie needs to be here. Maddie's
about-
coming.
I guess we have to do Ecclesiastes again. We've missed it.
No. Calm down.
No.
I'd rather do
Okay.
Job again.
Let's
What?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
All returns to dust.
just doesn't
Is
mean
that not comforting? His
All right.
Good luck editing that.
If anyone has a vote, you're welcome to put it in the comments. You can vote, okay? We can have a vote.
Don't vote
Yeah.
for anything stupid.
You should make a poll.
Obviously.
Like one of those poll things.
Yeah, we
We're
could poll.
never gonna get to Chronicles.
Well, the
Wonder why.
thing.
No one's gonna vote for Chronicles.
I might vote for Chronicles. You don't know.
Do you know how many
Okay.
hidden gems are in Chronicles? So many.
Well, all right, anyway, we'll talk about it later. Much love, 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 love. Next week we'll continue. I hope this is really good for everybody. We didn't break down and cry. I was kind of hoping we would, but that's okay. It's not. It's fun. It's fun when we kind of
Cried
get.
last time.
Sometimes we gotta cry.
Take your
It's
contacts out.
It's beautiful.
Taylor had a moment.
that's true.
It's beautiful.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Next week we shall continue. Ready? Love, love, love.